Raquel Horn, aka Rocky. I'm allowed to call you Rocky, right?
Yes.
Oh, well, listen, Rocky, thank you so much for talking to me today. I'm so thrilled to be connected with you. Firstly, because I'm in love with your accent.
Oh, well, same goes for you. I'm in love. I'm just over here, giddy over here with your accent. So thank you.
Well, first of all, let me just give you a proper introduction. So you are the creative director for the Dash Group.
Yes.
You are a woman of many, many, many talents. And yes, take credit. One of the things that really, really, really makes me love you, though, is the fact that you have been through an incredible journey to motherhood, which has involved trauma, heartbreak, struggles. You finally achieved your dream of motherhood, but you are now helping hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women and men by sharing your story. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if I should keep talking. Should I start talking or do you want to? Okay. So it's really made me, this morning I was on this, Clubhouse, and it's called the Miracle Morning, and we were talking about how today is the best day of our life, and everybody was kind of showing their stories about healing, and one of the girls was like, in our lives we need situations, and it could create trauma, so we need things to learn from to make us better. And that's how I have put this situation in my mind. And it has taught me so much about myself. It's not something I wish upon anybody. And it's so much something that so many women have gone through, of losing a baby or trying to conceive, or just the struggle of not knowing if you are, what you make yourself feel is not woman enough. Sometimes you tell yourself and you put yourself down, but it took me this loss and this kind of like first real trauma in my life to really set myself back and like understand who I was and understand what I needed, and to really appreciate and architect my life that I have right now. So I'm tearing up just thinking about it, because it's just, I learned so much about myself, and I have put that towards teaching other women, because a huge moment in my healing from this was, I was on an airplane, and it's so funny, the people closest around you can tell you the same things over and over, but sometimes it takes a person that's like outside for it to hit you like a bowling ball, or to hit you like a bat in the head. Because I was talking to my flight attendant, and we were exchanging stories, and it had been 2 weeks since I lost the baby, and she was telling me, just in passing, all of a sudden she just said, "Oh yeah, it's about to be the anniversary of, my son's passing." And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." He was 21 when he died, and here I am, I'm a wreck, but I was like, golly. And the whole time I thought this woman was amazing. I was like, she's so bubbly. She's anything. I was like, I just have to talk to her at some point. But I was like, she is so bubbly and so personal. And she got to know her son for 21 years. And I didn't even meet him. And that connection, I can't imagine. So if she could be this strong of a person, I can totally be this strong. And it totally changed my perspective and that flight. And like, I always say this story because it really impacted me. And so for her to share that with me and to be that open, I was like, well, and my husband, he's so open about everything, that I was like, he was like, you need to show your story. So many women have gone through this. And the more I share it, the more almost every single woman has had some sort of difficulty with this, about becoming a mom or some sort of struggle. And it is such a lottery ticket for women if it's just one time, they're able to get pregnant and that's it. And, but like television, we were talking about the movies earlier, TV, the media makes you think, oh, oh, you have sex and you get pregnant, and that's just what happens. But if it doesn't work out like that, you're like, well, what did I do wrong? I've seen it my whole life in movies that this is what happens. You get married, you you do this thing at night, and all of a sudden the next morning you're pregnant. It doesn't happen like that.
No.
And
I still wonder at how on earth that does happen. It seems almost impossible. Like
it does seem impossible. I've met maybe 2 people that they're like, yeah, just I don't one time, one night stand or something like that. And I was like, how much of a lottery that is? Like that doesn't happen.
How long, just going back, just to talk through your journey, how long were you trying to conceive before you thought, okay, I'm going to have to do something here?
About 7 years.
Wow.
So it started off, just trying to have a baby. We didn't, in the natural way. And, after about like a year, I was like, oh, this is interesting. Nothing's happened. Maybe we're just, then I started to like kind of track it, and still nothing really happened. And then it's funny because like as I'm tracking it, I'm like learning so much about my body. I was like, why didn't I not teach me these things in school? Like, why do I not know about my luteal phase? Why do I not know how to like win my cycle? Why did I not know that all this was happening in my body to prepare for like a baby, like what my cycle really was? So but then I had to go back to my doctor, and about a year and a half, I went to her and I was like, well, this isn't happening. She was like, okay, well, so 6 months with me right now, since you've been trying for this long, 6 months, I want you to do these things, and I want you to track it. I want you to take your temperature. I want you to do it with me monitoring it. 6 months, nothing happened. Okay, so then I took Clomid. Clomid was that, that pill. I did it 3 rounds of that, nothing happened. So weird. I felt crazy on that pill. So nothing happened. Then I was frustrated after that, because you have this little hope that it's going to work. Then I took a break for like another year. I did a whole bunch of acupuncture and teas and tinctures, and I changed my diet. I went from vegan. I changed to being a vegan. I like juiced all the time, total cleansing, still nothing. Then I was like, okay, went back to my gynecologist. She's like, okay, well, I think you should go see a reproductive specialist. And I went to SCRC and I met Dr. Carolyn Alexander, and I was like, well, do I have endometriosis? Like I have terrible periods. Like this, self-diagnosing myself to the T. And she was like, well, I'm not gonna say no, but I don't think you do. Why don't we try IUIs, and we'll go from there. And we do technically 3 rounds of IUIs, and from IUIs, then we'll have the next conversation. IUIs, the first round of IUIs, I ended up catching the flu. It didn't work. I had a fever. Nothing happened. Then next 2 rounds didn't work. Again, frustrated, disappointed, thinking I can't do anything. Rather, now I've gotten over my fear of needles, needless to say, at this point. Before, let me tell you, if I saw a needle, I was on the floor, fainted, gone, white.
Oh my gosh.
So I was fully over needles at this point. The first time I had to stick my stomach with a needle, it took me 20 minutes. It was just like, you get there and then you're like, nope. And then it's like jumping off a ledge. No. Anyway, so after those 3 rounds, then we had that conversation, and I actually did all this on television. I was on the show Growing Up Hip Hop at the time, and we talked about having IVF, doing the baby. And so I did the egg retrieval, and I got 14 eggs at the time. From those 14, 10 only multiplied and turned into blastocysts. From those 10, only 7 really matured. From those 7, only 5 were accepted to genetic testing. From genetic testing, I only got 2 A's, 2 B's, and a C. And then so we decided, at that point I was like, oh my gosh, it's been so long. Oh, and then I decided to do another test because I wanted to make absolutely sure, because I hadn't gotten pregnant so long. I was like, you know, I don't want to just put this egg in and not know. There was one more test I could do. It was called I forget the name, but anyways, I call it the sticky test. I think it's EMI. They test the lining of your uterus to see how sticky your progesterone is for the egg to actually attach. That took like 4 months for that to happen. It had to go all because my specimen had to go on a vacation to Spain to get tested without me. So that took a while. So once they finally got that, we got that back. It was good I did it. The doctor said I probably might not have gotten pregnant without that test because my levels were definitely a lot lower than expected. So that's what she believes was my main reason I wasn't getting pregnant. I had good eggs, he had good sperm, you know, they tell you, oh, your uterus is beautiful, like your eggs are gorgeous. And I'm like, so what's the problem? They're like, you know, if infertility, there's 30% the man, there's 30% the women, and there's 30% the unknown. I was in the unknown part, which is such a great big number, you know, it's like, it's crazy. So, so we did the test. With all of the information that we had gathered over the years, I ended up, when they put the egg in, they said they were 95% sure the baby would stick. And the baby stuck. I had a baby girl. Well, anyways, he just showed me somebody wearing his robe on the cover of a magazine. Anyways, a robe that he like, it's not his robe, it's not our robe, but anyways, that's his thing, is wearing robes. So anyways,
it was a girl.
No, it was a guy.
No, your baby.
Oh, it was a girl. So yes, so it was a girl. Thank you for bringing me back. I had a baby girl, and you know, at the time, the second I found out, we started announcing it, and we were telling everybody, because it's like I had been doing this journey on television. So, you know, first couple of months, you know, first ultrasounds and stuff were okay. There were some things that they were looking at. Second major ultrasounds, things were getting a little bit more critical. Third ultrasound, stuff was not happening right. And eventually we lost the baby at 7.5 months. And that was it's crazy that I can talk so calmly about these things now because I've said it so many times, but it was a really hard moment in my life. I've never really gone through like a trauma like that, and to work so hard for something and to feel like you were so close, but you were actually so far away. It was really hard. But I think Damon was really instrumental in my healing. You know, he's gone through some major losses in his life with his mother and Aaliyah. So he kind of really knew how to architect the healing environment around me. He took away all my triggers that I could possibly react to. And he kind of just let me take that time to mourn. And I had, you know, I had two weeks solid that I mourned in my own time and in my own space. And then he was like, we need to go. And we went to Hawaii. And that was amazing for us to actually just get out of our environment that we were comfortable with, go into a new environment. So I kind of had to make I had to create new space, and I wasn't just stuck in stuff that would trigger me all the time. And it really helped to kind of heal us. And you know, he's going through a loss too. It's not just me. So that was huge. And I think the next thing, we were just like, no, now we're going to get pregnant again. We know what we're going to do. So we had one more good embryo left. And I called my doctor and I was like, I need to know exactly what's the next steps for us to get in line for this next one. And she's like, yeah, well, we can start trying again around in 13 weeks from now or so. And I was like, okay, we'll put it on the books. We're going to do this.
You must have been
But,
terrified though, to have
yes.
experienced such trauma and that fear
Yes.
that it might happen again. How do you deal with that?
So that when I did get pregnant the next time, every doctor's appointment was stressful. And, we were in the brink of COVID. So Damon, he couldn't go into the appointments with me. So I'm walking in alone. He'd been to every appointment with me before. I'm in there alone. He was on edge, he was sitting in the car on edge until I called him to tell him everything was fine for that whole hour. When I'm sitting he's just waiting like in the dark. Is everything going to be fine? And, I did have a slew more I had so many more appointments because of everything that had happened. And I did decide to keep all of my same doctors because I wanted them we had gone through this together, and I wanted them to be extra cautious this pregnancy. They all gave me the option to choose other doctors, and they were very kind and very sweet. And they were like, we know it might trigger you to be around us or anything. And I was like, no, we're going through this again. We're going to get through this. And it was just such a different experience this time. I mean, it was like they all had a baby with me this time, because it was, we all went through something, and it was really, it was an incredible experience, and I couldn't have done it without all of the support of all of my doctors and my friends and family through it. But yeah,
I'm picturing the elation on the day that your son was born. That must have been the most incredible labor room ever.
Yes, during COVID with a mask on, but yes, absolutely, it was incredible. And we filmed everything, so of course it was just it's surreal. It was like, it's just really happening. And I had to get induced, so that was like traumatizing 24 hours, because I was like, oh my god, this is really happening. Like tomorrow there's it's not just going to be me and him, it's going to be me, him, and a baby. And this is really, really happening. And I was so nervous. I was like, I need a glass of wine. When are we going to do this? But I didn't. Walked right in and made it happen. We had a beautiful, beautiful room. I could see the Hollywood sign from my labor room. It was great. And I had an amazing staff. So it was a good experience.
So you've been through all of that incredible journey, that terrible, terrible trauma.
Yeah.
And now you're helping other women by talking about your journey, because
yes,
it's, I mean, there is so much shame, isn't there, associated with infertility,
yes.
and there is so much blame that women put on themselves when things go wrong. I blamed myself for pretty much everything during my, I finally got there. I finally have my IVF twins. They're like 11 this year. But I went through the shame of thinking I wasn't a proper woman.
Yeah.
I almost, I hate saying it now, but I almost despised women that were, able to conceive.
It's hard.
Yeah.
No, it's a trigger. I mean, it's a trigger. It's you're like, oh, and you still, even to this day, if somebody's like, yeah, I just tracked my cycle 1 month and I got pregnant. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
I'm like, bravo, but you understand how much of a miracle that is. I need you to sit down for a second, and I need to physically explain to you how this doesn't happen all the time.
It is a bloody miracle. It really is. And then we say, we have this expression, we call it the scar of infertility, that even though, we have our children now, the trauma that we've experienced is buried as well. It's so deep inside that, like you say, these triggers that I still have these little moments of anger and jealousy when I hear about these, perfect conceptions. And I should probably have some therapy at some point in my life.
We'll all go into therapy. We have all therapy. We need IVF therapy. Yes.
Wait, so the journey that you've been on, you've documented it, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
So where can people watch this?
Well, I have a show on my on Damon Dash Studios called Health is Wealth, and this shows my healing from my trauma. So how Damon and I went to Hawaii and really healed, and I explained what happened in our story. But it has a happy ending, and I'm also working on a documentary with a happy ending as well, to come out soon. And so Health is Wealth, season 3 on Damon Dash Studios. It takes place in Hawaii and here in LA, and I just show how to heal through meditation and food and, just enjoying life.
Yeah.
And looking forward to working towards your goal and what you really want and manifesting that. And that's what I worked on every single day until I got him. And I am loving every moment and architecting life to be as perfect as I can with him. I think what's awesome about being an IVF mom is that how much you appreciate that, how hard you worked for this moment. And you really, I feel like I went through such a battle, and even birthing was a battle, but like IVF is just such a battle that we just came out, victorious. And even if you aren't able to have a baby, but the battle of IVF, or like being a mom, whether you can have a baby from your own, or you have to go through a surrogate, or you have to adopt, that whole battle of just being a mom is just so strong, because the willingness and what's meant to happen will be, and you will be the best version of it. I just think it's so admirable when something's amazing when you have to fight for it. And I think I keep finding this out about myself every time I have to work really hard towards something. It ends up turning out so great. And it's like that, it should be my like light that comes on. It's like, oh, I know this is going to be good because it's hard. Like if it comes so easy, it's not as rewarding as something that's just you work so hard at.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so, so true. And IVF mums, look at us.
Yeah. You just did incredible. You did twins. Bravo for you. I couldn't do that. I was like, honestly, I did go, we were like, we're going to do twins because I had the boy and the girl. I was like, let's just knock it out. Let's do it right now. I've waited long enough. Let's do this. And the doctor was like, well, I don't want the babies fighting for space because I don't know what your body's going to do right now. So I want you to just pick. And I was like, now I have to pick between a boy and a girl. This is traumatizing. And it was so hard. So we ended up picking the girl first, but, and then everything happened, but now we have our baby boy. But, now we're going to see, I want to have another one. So we'll see how that goes. If I'm able to get pregnant, you never know what happens, or, I'm ready to do IVF again.
Well, in the meantime, you are incredible. And like I said, the comfort that you are offering people just by sharing your story is incredible. Just showing people, helping people, seeing that, they're not alone in their fight. And,
Yes.
And like you said, and offering, some great guidance and advice and support. It's wonderful.
I thank you. So you have 11-year-olds, and do you mind if I ask you? So how did you, what's a little of your journey?
Do you know what? I wish if I could go back in time, like you said, I would have learnt more about my fertility. I knew nothing. So I married like a rock star. I married a guy who was a bassist in a band.
Oh yes, I like the rock stars too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was on tour, drinking heavily every night, living the rock and roll lifestyle. And I remember sending him a text message, and he said he woke up, he was on the tour bus, pounding headache. And I said, I want to have a baby by May. But of course, we weren't looking at lifestyle. We weren't looking, you know, none of that. I just thought it would happen. I thought he'd come back off tour, you know, I'd time it and I'd get pregnant.
Yeah.
No, it never happened. So like you, we had the IUIs, had failed IVF, and then eventually I had ICSI.
Cool.
They actually, where they put the sperm right in the egg. It's like literally that sperm's going nowhere. So they put that.
No, they did that for mine too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But then
we're already this far. We're already this far through science. We got to go full head on right now.
And then, but basically I got the worst side effect to IVF that you can get, which is severe, it's called severe OHSS, which is where your body becomes overstimulated. And the lining of my stomach filled up with fluid. Then it went to my lungs. I mean, I was a barrel. And so it doesn't happen. So it doesn't really happen anymore. Patients are monitored a lot more closely now. And
what do they do to prevent it?
What they'll do is, if they see that a patient is developing OHSS, they'll pause treatment. So they won't put, you know, if they've already got embryos, they won't then do the embryo transfer. They'll make them wait until their body has calmed down.
Oh, so you were already reacting to like the hormones from the egg retrieval. Did you go ahead and do the egg retrieval, and then from the egg retrieval you just put the baby in?
You didn't because I put 2 embryos back in.
Did you didn't freeze? You just went straight
boring. And of course my body went. So it was hardcore. And they popped me eventually, like literally popped me.
Like they stuck a needle into the I think that's what I've seen. I feel like I was watching some sort of series of documentary on Netflix, and they did that.
Yeah, it's bloody awful. But my little embryos survived. I can't believe they did, because it was horrific. But they survived, and yes, my girls are 11 in November, and I still pinch myself every single day.
You should. So you didn't know like the sex until you found out. Amazing.
No, literally not until they were born.
Oh, you are a trooper. I was like, no, I need to know now. But yes, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Listen, there's another. I just wanted to also mention, because you've got a couple of books coming out, haven't you?
Oh yes, so while I was pregnant, I wrote a children's book called Dusko Goes to Space. It's about Dusko going on imaginary adventures with his dog Governor. And this one, they go into outer space and they go travel the planets, and they get to learn about all the planets in the solar system, but they come back in time for dinner with their family. And
Dusko is the name of your son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. And until that book comes out, working with a publisher now, I have put out a coloring book in the meantime, a little activity book. It's available on Amazon right now.
Coloring for adults or children or both?
Both, whoever, the whole family. And I am also working with the OSG, and my husband, he works with the OSG as the Off School Grounds. It's a coalition of over 130 Black principals all over the world, and they get together and talk about education reform. And we're working on a syllabus right now. So a lot of these principals got together with me when I was pregnant, and they started telling me the exercises to do with the baby, how to educate the baby in the womb. And from the womb, I've been implementing curriculums and certain things with him till as he grows. So all of these little tidbits that they've been helping me, I'm putting together in a little manual notebook. I haven't decided what I'm calling it yet, but yes, so that'll come together, because this valuable information, a lot of stuff women don't know, parents don't know, I started teaching him in the womb, which is pretty incredible.
You really are like a fighter.
Oh yeah, trying so hard.
You really are. You are inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Well, your story is incredible. it's so crazy. You're like, yes, I'm pregnant, and then you're just like, it's not not going to end here, you know. You got to keep going.
Keep going, but like I said, what's amazing is the fact that we're talking about it, that we're highlighting this issue, and letting people, you know, men and women, see that infertility is so common, and that it's nothing to be ashamed about, and you know, talking about it is actually, you know, for a lot of people going to help their journey, because it will make you feel less alien, I think, if you realize that you aren't alone.
Absolutely. Like when I lost my baby, you know, my mom told me about babies that she had lost, and I didn't, certain things that I didn't know. So it was just like, I feel like sometimes it's a way to connect to other women and just be like, oh yeah, well, I've been through that too, but I just don't talk about it. And, you know, I think it's something that is, people are bringing up more and more, and that's a positive thing about social media and about having information readily available, that you can find things out more instantly. That's a benefit of social media. So I do appreciate things like that, and being able to research and learning, you know, what these things are, and learning that you're not alone.
Yes. Well, we will continue to watch you and follow your journey and see where you go next, and look out for all your incredible initiatives and books and documentaries. You are, like I said,
trying to build a legacy.
Thank you so much for joining us today, or joining me. And yeah, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate your time.